Hello everybody, William here with the Carshare Academy. I hope you're doing great. I want to talk with you today about a topic that I see brought up on almost a daily basis in the Turo Facebook groups. And the question that is always asked is, how can I know how much a specific vehicle is going to make in my market before I go out and buy it to put on Turo? And the first thing I want to say about that is absolutely one of the best questions that you could be asking right now. It tells me that you're thinking. You're not just rushing into this game without applying some critical thinking to it and making sure that you're a success. So that is absolutely one of the top questions to be asking. But what I also want to say is that when you ask this question in a Facebook group with thousands of hosts all across the country, you are not likely to get accurate, actionable information in the comments below your post. And here's why. You may be sitting over in Raleigh, North Carolina, thinking about listing a Honda Accord on Turo, and you're wondering, how much money can I make? Will it cover the expenses? How much profit can I expect to make every month? So you put it out there on Facebook, and somebody out in San Francisco replies, hey, my Honda Accord brings in this much money and is booked this many times a month, so this is about what you can expect. Now, that information may be absolutely accurate for the lady or the gentleman sitting out in San Francisco hosting a Honda Accord, but it probably isn't going to be accurate for you sitting in Raleigh, North Carolina, wanting to host a Honda Accord. You see, vehicles perform differently from city to city, from region to region. This is just an absolute truth in this Turo business. You cannot base projections of your performance in your city upon the performance of anyone else in any other city, because vehicle performance varies city to city and region to region. A Honda Accord out in San Francisco, California, will perform at a certain daily rate, a certain number of days booking per year, and it could be vastly different over in Raleigh, North Carolina. So it's the right question to ask. It's kind of the wrong place to ask it. To really understand what the earnings and the profit potential are for a specific vehicle, you have to just bring it back to your city, and you have to spend a little bit of time doing some due diligence, doing some investigative work into your specific market. And that's what we're going to do in this video with a tool that I've developed called the Carshare Academy Carculator. This is a pre-built Excel workbook, very easy to use. Formulas are all built in, and all you have to do is go in and plug in a little bit of data after doing a very tiny amount of research, and the calculator is going to paint the picture for you. It's going to show you what your most likely earnings potential are, and it will even help you to kind of figure out what profit potential you have with that vehicle in your city. So that's what we're going to do in this video. I'm going to walk you through that tool. We're going to actually fill it out together using a sample vehicle in a sample market. And then in the description below this video, you'll actually find a link where you can just go grab this tool and download it for free. I put it together for you, the new and aspiring Turo host. It's yours, my gift to you. Go download it for free. And when you do download it, you'll also get a little extra bonus there. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at a specific vehicle in a specific market and see what it looks like. Okay, here we are with the Carshare Academy Carculator. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and choose a specific vehicle in a specific city, and we're going to come up with some reasonably accurate projections for what you can expect to earn from that vehicle, and we'll even take a look at what you should be able to profit from that vehicle based on some variable data that we're going to enter. So let's go ahead and click over to the Calculator tab, and you'll see the pre-built workbook that I have for you. Now, if you're relatively new or inexperienced with Microsoft Excel, this might look a little bit complex, but I promise you it is super easy to use. I have just a few fields where you're going to enter a little bit of data, and once you've entered that data, the pre-built formulas are going to go to work, and it's going to do the rest for you and show you what your results are. So for our exercise here, we're going to begin right here at the top, and we're going to enter some specific vehicle information, and we're going to choose a 2019 Honda Accord. Now, I have a spot here for trim level in case you want to go ahead and drill down a little bit further, become a little more, get a little more granular with your research. But I don't necessarily recommend that because trim level doesn't always correspond with higher or lower rates that you can command with your vehicle. I have it in there if you want to use it, but we're not going to use it for our exercise today. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and blow this up just a little bit, and I'm going to walk you through the 6 steps to find our comps. Now, when I use the word comp, that is short for comparables. Okay, we're going to find vehicles to compare to help us identify what kind of daily rate we should be able to charge in this market. And there's 6 steps that we're going to go through. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up Turo, either in your browser or your app. Now, for our exercise here, we're going to do it in the browser. I just find doing this kind of research to be much easier in the browser versus the app. So that's what we'll do here. The next thing we're going to do is enter our city for the vehicle search. Step 3 is we're going to enter a 7-day date range beginning 90 days from today. Now let's talk about that a little bit. Why are we going to do it 90 days from today? Why can't we just put in tomorrow's date and for the next 7 days? Well, if we put in tomorrow's date and we do a search for Honda Accords over the next 7 days, every Honda Accord in your market that is already out on a trip or has a trip booked in the next 7 days, it's not going to show up in the search results. Therefore, we won't be able to see it as we're trying to develop our list of comparables. So we want to go 90 days out where there's probably 0 bookings, maybe very few bookings, if any. We will have the best chance of seeing the entire inventory of our Honda Accords in this city by doing that 7-day date range 90 days out versus tomorrow. Why 7 days? That's the second question here. Well, what we want to make sure we're doing, again, is capturing all of the available vehicles. If we just pull up a 1 or 2 day range, we might not see vehicles that have a 3-day minimum trip requirement on them. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're capturing all the inventory, and 7 days will allow us to do that. The second reason is we also want to make sure we're capturing discounts that people may be using out there, things like 3-day discounts, because that's going to affect the daily rates that we see as we develop our list of comparables. All right, so that's step 3. Step 4 is we're going to filter our search results to show only the exact make and model that we entered above. And again, that's a Honda Accord. So we're only going to look at Honda Accords. Step number 5 is we're going to filter our search results to show only your model year, 1 year older and 1 year newer. So we'll be looking at a 3-year span with yours in the middle. And then step number 6, from the results, we're going to look for the 3 units that have the 3 highest completed trip counts. And we're going to take note of the daily rate for each of those. And we're going to enter that into our spreadsheet. So those will be our 3 comparables. The 3 vehicles, the 3 Honda Accords in that model year range that have the highest number of completed trips, because what we're looking at there is really the most successful vehicles, and we want to know what rates are being charged for the most utilized vehicles. All right, so those are our 6 steps. Let's go ahead and jump over to Turo.com and we'll begin our research. All right, here we are at Turo.com. We're going to start looking for our comparable vehicles. So the first thing we're going to do is enter our city. And for this exercise, we're going to choose Dallas, Texas as our sample city. We're going to put in our 7-day date range beginning 90 days out. And the day that I'm filming this video is December the 19th, which means we're going to go from March the 19th to March the 25th. Okay, there's our 7-day range. 90 days out. And then we're going to click the search button right here. And what we're seeing is now all of the vehicles in Dallas, Texas. So we need to do a little bit of filtering here. And this is where we come to our filters tab right here. We're going to click on that and we're going to scroll down and we're going to choose vehicle makes. We're going to choose Honda, and vehicle models. We're going to choose the Accord. And now we're going to enter our year range. Now you'll see before we do that there are 45 Honda Accords in the market. For us to get the most accurate average daily rate, we want to really bring that down to the 3-year span that we talked about earlier, because there may be some 2009s, 2008s, 2010s that are priced much, much lower than what you would be able to price for your 2019. So let's go ahead and adjust our years, and we're going to do this 3-year span, which means we're going to start with 2018 to 2020, and your 2019 is right there in the middle. And you'll see that this narrowed our results down to 14 results. So we're going to click this button, and we're going to take a look at our 14 results, and what we're looking for is the completed trip counts right here. All right, so we have 24, 38, 37, 26, 8, 2, 6, 0, 0, 81, 62, 0, 1, and 5. So we're going to find our 3 busiest vehicles, and we're going to start right here with this 2019 Honda Accord sedan. Has 81 completed trips, and you'll see that the average daily rate is $52 a day. All right, now let's look for our second most booked vehicle, and that is our 2018. You'll see that it has 62 trips, and it has an average rate of $58. And now we're going to look for our third most utilized vehicles, and I believe it was the, let's see, we have 37 here, we have 38 here. Yes, it's this one here. The Honda Accord sedan, 38 completed trips at $48 a day. All right, that is the end of our research. See how simple this was? So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump back over into our workbook, and we're going to start entering some data. Here we are back in our calculator. Now we're going to start entering some information. And the first thing we're going to begin with is right here in our comps section. This is where we're going to enter the data that we just learned from the Turo website. We have 3 comps that we considered. And the first one, the average daily rate was $52. So we're going to enter that there. The second one was $58. So we're going to enter that. And then we had one at $48. So we've entered our 3 comps, and what we've come up with is an average daily rate between our 3 comps of $52.67. We're going to go ahead and just round that on up to $53. So that is about where you should be able to price your Honda Accord once you go out and get it listed on the platform. Now, the next thing we need to talk about is protection plan. If you're brand new to Turo, or if you haven't started Turo yet, one of the things that you're going to do whenever you list your vehicle is you're going to choose a protection plan for that vehicle. And all the protection plans have different levels of coverage with different deductibles, and they have a different percentage of the earning that you get to keep based on the protection plan that you chose. So we have this set up to where it's a simple pull down. You just click on the arrow and you and you select the protection plan that you want. And these are the 5 different protection plans that you can choose from. Now, for the sake of our exercise here, we're just going to say, we're going to go on the 75 plan, which means you get to keep 75% of the earnings from that vehicle. And you will have a $250 deductible in the event that there's a damage claim, an accident of some sort. So we're going to choose the 75. Now, we're done. This is really it. The next section we're going to look at here is utilization days. Now, this is the number of days per month that you can expect your vehicle to be booked. And we've given you 3 different settings here. We've given you a low end, a high end, and a median end. So on the low end, let's say your vehicle is only booked 12 days out of the month. Okay, that's our low utilization. We have a high utilization, 24 days out of the month, and that's about 80% utilization. That's kind of the benchmark that all of us really kind of shoot for. If we're hitting 80% utilization, we're feeling pretty darn good about how things are going. But then we also dropped in here a median utilization. and that is 18 days. That's about halfway between the low utilization and the high utilization. Okay, so we have 12, 24, and 18 days a month. So now we just scroll down a little bit further and we'll see our earnings potential for each of those scenarios. Let's say our vehicle is only booked out about 12 days a month. We can look to earn about $474 in a month, okay, based on the average daily rate that we can charge and the protection plan that we selected. Our high average earning is $948. If you're booked out 24 days out of the month, that's about what you're looking at, $948 earnings. And then our median average earnings, somewhere in the middle, you're looking at about $711. Now, what happens if we change our protection plan? Let's say you're super optimistic. You're thinking, you know what, my vehicle's never going to be damaged. If it is, I can handle the deductible. What does it look like if I took my protection plan to the 85 plan? Well, as you can see, the picture improves quite dramatically. Okay, now you're up over $1,000 a month for your high utilization days. All right, so we'll just drop that back to 75. So this is the first part of your evaluation for this vehicle to see how much money you're going to bring in. Now, we shouldn't really stop there. Okay, earnings is one thing, and that's what we all love to see. We love to see those purple earnings graphs on our Turo accounts and see how much money is being deposited into our bank account. But if you aren't also thinking about your expenses, you're missing half of the picture here before you get into this business with this vehicle. You could have really good earnings, and this isn't bad right here for a Honda Accord. A little bit low compared to some other markets, but this is still pretty good earnings. But if your expenses are significantly higher than average, you're going to have a difficult time making a profit here. So we need to come down to the next section in our workbook, and let's talk about expenses a little bit. Now, the first big expense is your vehicle payment. If you're going out and financing or leasing a vehicle, you're going to have a payment. Now, I happen to have a Honda Accord in my fleet, and my payment is right around $290 a month. So we're going to go ahead and drop that in there just to use as an example. So we'll key in our payment. Now, what about monthly insurance premium? That's going to be different for everybody depending on, what state you live in and different variables. My monthly insurance premium here in the state of Michigan is right around $100 a month. All right, and the next thing we want to talk about is our vehicle registration. Every year you got to have your plates renewed. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that cost and we're going to divide it out by 12 just to give us a monthly figure there of how much our registration costs us if we break it down monthly. Now, in my market, my registration is right around $120 a year. So that's going to come out to about $10. So we're just going to drop $10 in there. Now, these are your vehicle expenses. What about maintenance expenses? This needs to be taken into consideration as well. Let's talk about oil changes. We've got this built in for you. When you download the workbook, you're going to see these numbers already in here because it's a pretty decent guess at what you're going to be paying, but you can adjust these cells however you want to. But for our demonstration here, we're planning on 4 oil changes per year at about $45 each. And then again, we're going to divide that out by 12 just so that we can see this on a monthly basis. And that comes out to about $15. Okay. Estimated tire expense. You should probably plan on putting brand new tires on your vehicle every couple years in Turo. Maybe a little bit sooner than that, but a couple years is a good estimate. So our assumption here is that we're going to put on 4 brand new tires at $180 per tire, and we're going to divide that out by 24 months. We're going to assume that a set of tires will last 2 years, so therefore we're going to divide it by 24. That comes out to about $30 a month. And then I just threw in here wiper blades. You're going to go through wiper blades once a year. For most of my vehicles, it comes out to about $40 per set. We're going to divide that out by 12 months. That's $3.33. Now, these are just basic operating expenses. There are other expenses that you're going to need to track and build into a monthly profit and loss once you get up and running and are really running your business. Things like depreciation and taxes, and there are some other minor expenses that you're going to need to account for. But we just wanted to give you a starting point here with some expenses that are pretty easily predictable. So we've entered our expenses: payment, insurance, registration, oil changes, tires, and wiper blades. What does this do? Well, it certainly changes our picture, doesn't it? If you only book this Honda Accord 12 days out of the month, you're only making $25.67 profit. Actually, you're making less than that. You might barely be breaking even. You might even be losing money once we factor in some of the other expenses beyond just these basic expenses. This is not a good picture here. $25.67. Now, on the high end, it gets much better. If you're hitting 80% utilization with this Accord consistently, you're looking at about $500 profit every month on that vehicle. And then our median average net profit drops in at about $263 per month. So I hope you can see here through this example that it is incredibly important that you factor in all of these variables, that you think very carefully about your vehicle choice, that you understand the demand pattern in your city. Is a Honda Accord really going to work well? Are you going to go out and buy a Honda Accord and be stuck with only booking it 12 days out of the month? If so, and if this is your expense scenario, you're losing money and you've not made a wise decision there. Where maybe a different vehicle, maybe a Toyota Camry or a Hyundai Elantra, when you actually do the research, you find out that those are consistently booked at 80% a month in your specific city. So this just demonstrates very clearly how important it is that you understand how your market works, which vehicles are in demand, that you acquire your vehicles wisely to maximize your profit potential. All right, see how easy this was? This tool is super simple for you to use, and I really suggest that before you go out and purchase a vehicle, you do take the time to do this research. So in this whole Turo business, there are several pro moves, power moves that you can make to set yourself apart from the hosts who just jump into this, make some poor decisions, and don't last very long. And the first and greatest pro move that you can make is understanding your market, the demand, and understanding how well specific vehicles are going to do in your specific market, not across the United States, not in other cities and in other markets, but right there where you are in your market. And I hope that this tool is helpful for you. Again, drop down into the description. You'll see the link. Download it for free. Got a little extra bonus there that you'll see when you download it. And then please jump on over to carshareacademy.com. We do a lot of work over there for the host community with group coaching, with one-on-one coaching, online classes, market research. We're just a lot of stuff that we do to support the host community. So I hope to see you there, and we'll see you in the next video.